Things to do with a wall. You know the wall we mean.
Climb over it.
Under it.
Paint your message on it.
You can put your fist right through it.
Build a better one.
Tell lies to it.
Estoy arrodillado ante el muro blanco. Escribo mi nombre sobre el agua. Veo pasar las horas como nubes. No hay fondo. No hay abismo. A mis pies disminuye la sombra. ¿Quién soy? ¿No me conoces?
I try not to think about the wall. Its profile, massive height, and rough-cut stonework all stir up fear, gloom, exaltation, pride, and numbness in a jumble hard to name. No one knows who had it built or when. 500 years ago, the locals guess, but sunset trumpet calls depict it gold enough to have been there more than 1,000. The thing held off invasions, true, but not always. Our history records defeats. Nowadays, we never get invaders, or else they're us, going beyond its limits to acquire new territory and subjects. The weaker stretches have sheared off and fallen, herders fence up their sheepfolds at the base, and some blocks are dragged off to build new houses. Topside, binoculars can sight its ramparts, winding through dark blue mountains farther north. That monumental, chill indifference explains why boys graffiti names on it, or jokes, no matter if their scrawny slashes in time begin to erode. Decades ago, I gouged in mine. It wasn't yet forbidden. Luckily, dense vines screen the signature, made at an age when we assume our name amounts to more than permanent stone structures. Oh, even now it sparks a vocal reflex when I move the leaves and read it there again.
This is the field where the battle did not happen, where the unknown soldier did not die. This is the field where grass joined hands, where no monument stands, and the only heroic thing is the sky. Birds fly here without any sound, unfolding their wings across the open. No people killed or were killed on this ground, hallowed by neglect and an air so tame that people celebrate it by forgetting its name.
There are lots of things to do with a wall.
Psychoanalyze it.
Count the bullet holes in it.
Don't entrust your dreams to it.
Fly platitudinous drones over it.
The wall was to be a protection for centuries. Thus, the essential prerequisites for the work were the most careful construction, the use of the architectural wisdom of all known ages and peoples, and an enduring sense of personal responsibility in the builders. Of course, for the more humble tasks, one could use ignorant day laborers from the people, the men, women, and children who offered their services for good money. But the supervision of even poor day laborers required a knowledgeable man, an educated expert in construction, someone who was capable of feeling sympathy deep in his heart for what was at stake here.
You look good.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
It's going to be a beautiful wall.
Just beautiful.
There's nothing bad about a wall that a bulldozer can't fix.
Let it evolve.
Let it wail.
Goose it with a talking stick.
Move it to Jerusalem.
Every night I lay my head against the wall and listened to its heart beating. La muralla y los libros.
I read that the man who ordered the construction of the nearly infinite wall of China was that first emperor who likewise ordered the burning of all the books before him. That the two gigantic operations, the 500 or 600 leagues of stone to oppose the barbarians, the rigorous abolition of history, that is, of the past, issued from one person, and were in a certain sense his attributes, inexplicably satisfied me, and at the same time disturbed me. He built the wall because walls were defenses. He burned the books because the opposition invoked them in order to extol former emperors. Burning books and building fortifications is common task to emperors. To enclose an orchard or a garden is common, not to enclose an empire. That the most traditional of races renounce the memory of its past, mythical or true, is no small matter. According to historians, the emperor forbade all mention of the word death and search for the elixir of immortality, and secluded himself in a figurative palace which had as many rooms as the year has days. The data suggest that the wall in space and the fire in time were magic barriers intended to halt the advance of death. Perhaps the wall was a metaphor. Maybe the emperor condemned those who worship the past to a work just as vast as the past, as stupid and useless. Perhaps the wall was a challenge, and the emperor thought, men love the past, and I can do nothing against this love, nor can my executioners. But sometime there will be a man who feels as I do, and he will destroy my wall as I destroyed the books, and will erase my memory, and there will be my shadow and my mirror, and will not be aware of it. Perhaps the emperor walled in his empire because he knew it was fragile, and he destroyed the books because he understood they were sacred books, or rather, books that taught that which the entire universe teaches, or the consciousness of every man. Maybe the burning of the libraries and the construction of the wall are operations that in a secret way cancel each other.
Join us as we watch Netflix on the walls of Plato's cave.
There are so many things you can do with a wall.
Teach it a new language.
Teach it to play ping pong.
Turn it into sunshine.
Turn it into an accordion.
Make it disappear.
I wrote the name you called me on your wall. I spoke the name you called me to a bear. I heard the name you called me when the wall came down.
Humpty Dumpty sat on a wall. Humpty Dumpty had a great fall. All the king's horses and all the king's men couldn't put Humpty together again.
I don't know what you mean by glory.
Of course you don't, till I tell you. I meant, there's a nice knockdown argument for you.
But glory doesn't mean a nice knockdown argument.
When I use a word, it means just what I choose it to mean, neither more nor less.
The question is whether you can make words mean so many different things.
The question is, which is to be the master? That's all.
Humpty Dumpty lay in a beck with all his sinews around his neck. 40 doctors and 40 wrights couldn't put Humpty Dumpty to rights.
I washed that wall until my arms were aching.
Tear it down and build a fallout shelter from it.
Arrange pink flamingos on it.
Watch the deer leap over it. They don't care.
Throw a party on both sides of it.
Then top it.
Culturally appropriated.
Them that ask no questions isn't told a lie.
Watch the wall, my darling, while the gentlemen go by.
One night, from the other side of a motel wall made of nothing but sawdust and pink stuff, I listened as a man cried to someone on the telephone that all he wanted to do before he died was to come home. I want to come home. That night a man cried until I was ankle deep in sleep, and then up to my neck, wading like a swimmer, or like a suicide through the waves of him crying and into the deep, as icebergs cracked into halves, as jellyfish, like thoughts, were passed secretly between people, and the seaweed, like the sinuous, soft, green hair of certain beauty queens washed up by the sea. Except that we were in Utah, and one of us was weeping while the other one was sleeping, with nothing but a thin, dry wall between us. Estoy en mí fuera de sí, contigo, niebla mía, mi ceniza, mi descendencia, mi cuerpo, mírame la última vez, antes que me destruya.
The wall was as blank on one side as the other.
Paint it white to cover up the swastikas.
Throw an orange over it.
The very, very biggest.
Collude with it.
Это его до такой степени напугало, что он вскочил на ноги и кинулся куда-то вслепую, пока со всего разгона не треснулся головой о невидимую в темноте стену мира.
This frightened him so much that he leapt to his feet and set off running blindly into the darkness until his head slammed at full speed into the invisible wall of the world.
You can fly a moral plane into it.
Float your better angels over it.
You might sell a boat from Puerto Rico right over it.
You might sell a boat from Haiti or Africa right over it.
Before building your wall, you will need to measure the exact height of your hate. Be sure to wear your hats. The sun might hurt your eyes.
I'll move that stud finder all over the damn place so I know where to hang it straight.
No need to drive a nail into the wall to hang your hat on. When you come in, just drop it on the chair. No guest to sat on. Don't worry about watering the flowers. In fact, don't plant them. You will have gone back home before they bloom, and who will want them? If mastering the language is too hard, only be patient. The telegram imploring your return won't need translation. Remember, when the ceiling sheds itself in flakes of plaster, the wall that keeps you out is crumbling too, as fast or faster.
El dolor no significa movimiento, ni el placer inmovilidad. Tan quietamente oscilo entre el daño y el gozo, que ya no sé si vivo o desfallezco. Hazme que gire o permanezca.
The walls that we build are never as beautiful as the bridges.
What walls surround you?
Avert your eyes from them.
Privatize them.
Once upon a today, and yesterday, and nevermore, there were 7 men and women all locked up in prison cells.
Now these 7 men and women were innocent of any crimes. They were in prison because their skins were black.
Day after day, the prisoners paced their cells, pining for their freedom.
And the non-black jailers would laugh at the prisoners and beat them with sticks and throw their food on the floor.
Finally, prisoner number 1 said, "I will educate myself and emulate the non-colored people. That is the way to freedom. Come on, you guys, and follow me."
Hell no, said prisoner number 2. The only way to get free is to pray to my God, and he will deliver you like he delivered Daniel from the lion's den. So, unite and follow me.
Bullshit, said prisoner number 3. The only way out is through this tunnel I've been quietly digging, so come on and follow me.
Said prisoner number 4. That's too risky. The only right way is to follow all the rules, and don't make the non-colored people angry. So come on, brothers and sisters, unite behind me.
Fuck you, said prisoner number 5. The only way out is to shoot our way out if all of you get together behind me.
No, said prisoner number 6. All of you are incorrect. You have not analyzed the political situation by my scientific method and historical meeby-jeeby. All we have to do is wait long enough and the bars will bend from their own inner rot. That is the only way.
Are all of you crazy? Cried prisoner number 7. I'll get out by myself, by ratting on the rest of you to the non-colored people. That is the way. That is the only way.
No, no, they all cried. Come and follow me. I have the way, the only way to freedom.
And so they argued, and to this day they are still arguing. And to this day they are still in their prison cells, their stomachs trembling with fear.
That's a Gila woodpecker. He declares his territory by banging on metal. The border between Mexico and the United States is one of the most biodiverse areas in North America, a wildlife haven for an estimated 400 species of birds, 180 butterflies, 87 mammals, and 68 amphibians and reptiles. Construction of a wall would disrupt the habitat, migration patterns, and genetic health of at least 90 threatened or endangered species. More than 700 species of birds, mammals, and insects use the borderlands during their annual migrations. Existing man-made political barriers already affect fauna, such as jaguars, bighorn sheep,
Sounds like a good place to hunt.
and the endangered Sonoran pronghorn, the world's second fastest land animal, who requires a vast open range to graze, but is averse to jumping even low fences. Other threatened species whose poetic names sing of their diversity include
the Montezuma
The coastal
quail,
California
The lesser
gnatcatcher,
long-nosed bat,
Black-tailed prairie
The
dog.
Rio Grande
barred
chirping
tiger
frog, and the
salad.
California
the
red
Kino
leg
checker
frog.
spot
The
butterfly,
low-flying cactus
The black
ferruginous
spotted
pygmy
newt.
The
owl.
arroyo toad.
The Texas earless lizard.
Never hear us coming.
bobcats, ocelots, mountain lions, and the Mexican gray wolf, the most endangered animal on our continent. Just over a century ago, the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service began poisoning and trapping these beautiful wolves to near extinction. The last 5 known survivors were captured in the late 1970s and bred in captivity. They were reintroduced to the wild in 1998, but last year's count numbered only 113.
Before I built a wall, I'd ask to know what I was walling in or walling out, and to whom I was like to give offense. Something there is that doesn't love a wall, that wants it down.
What do you want to do with a wall?
Colonize it.
electrify it.
Can we lick it?
Screw it, piss on it.
Let it piss wherever North Carolina won't let it.
Smoke it.
monetize it.
You can buy a piece of the Berlin Wall on eBay for only $19.95.
Suburban villas, highway-side retreats that dread the encroachment of our growing streets, tight boxes, neatly sashed and in a blaze with all a July's sun's collected rays, delight the citizen, who gasping there breathes clouds of dust and calls it country air. Oh, sweet retirement, who would balk the thought that could afford retirement or could not?
Bend that wall into a long arc of justice. There's no door through it.
There, prisoned in a parlor, snug and small, like bottled wasps upon a southern wall, the man of business and his friends compressed forget their labors and yet find no rest.
I don't know how to become one with you. If you're heaven, then tell me. I will kneel to every god. If you're hell, then tell me. I will fill the earth with sin. I don't know how to become one with you. If you are an invaded land, then tell me. I will make my skin your flag. If you are, as I am, a gypsy, draw a border around me. Make me your country.
The tenacious wall that in this moment, and in all moments, projects its system of shadows across lands I will not see, is the shadow of a Caesar who ordered that the most reverent of nations burn its past. Music, state of happiness, mythology, faces shaped by time, certain twilights in certain places, try to tell us something, or they told us something that we should not have lost, or want to tell us something. This imminence of a revelation which does not happen is, perhaps, the aesthetic act.
It turns into a wall, and in the wall there is a nook, and in the nook there is light, and in the light there is God. And in God there is nothing, and in nothing there is hope, and in hope there is abandonment. And in abandonment there is a wound, and in the wound there is a nation, and in the nation there are bones, and in the bones there is time, and in time there is light, and in light there are numbers, and in numbers there are codes, and in the codes there are mountains, and in the mountains there are bodies searching for bones.
I have put my burdens into the wrong body.
I have framed my burdens in the wrong language.
I have staked my burdens to the wrong nation.
I need medicine to sleep.
I need medicine to stop the shrieking in my ears.
I need medicine to make the immigrants turn into butterflies.
I need an injection to make the bureaucrats turn into terrorists.
The wall crumbles into millions of crickets whose singing never ceases.
We, first world peoples in these United States, have been hurtled against the wall of such brutal and disrespectful resistance to our needs that we will be silent. We will be afraid no more.
No more. Никогда.